Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Patch.
Welcome back.
And we have a comparison video for you guys today. This is a very popular Razer Viper, and then of course I think this is a little bit more underground. I don't think it's as popular, but it's getting up there. This is the Wolves Skoll. The Razer Viper is $80 and then the Skoll is $75.
So very similar price range there.
Yeah, very similar.
Interesting to compare the two. Very different looks, for
very
sure.
different looks. It's like mid-tier pricing, and Wolves Skoll you really can't get right now. It's out of stock, but the Razer Viper you can, it's readily available.
Yep.
So here's the comparison. If you guys want to get either of these mice, we'll try to leave links below. But let's get it started off with the shape.
Yeah, so very obvious differences here.
Yes.
So the Razer Viper is another ambidextrous mouse, and a true ambidextrous mouse. So buttons on the left and right side, not that it matters. Buttons suck. You can't really use them. The Wolves Skoll is ergonomic. You can tell. Arch is going to be a lot bigger on this. Mainly meant for like a palm grip, larger hands. Buttons are only going to be on the left side because of that ergonomic. Feels really nice, very lightweight.
So the Viper has a lot, lower of an arch, as you guys can tell. So it, like Lucas said, palm grip. You can also palm grip on the Viper. It's very comfortable. So the Viper is one of those mice where you can use any grip really. If you palm, it feels great. If you fingertip, it feels great. If you claw, it feels great. So I think it's a little bit more versatile in that way. Yeah, because you use both, right? Sometimes you use claw, sometimes you use fingertip. But what do you like better?
Honestly, I can palm, claw, or fingertip. The main thing is, I would say a fingertip, mainly with the Razer Viper. It's a lot more comfortable to fingertip than to palm.
Because of lower profile.
For my hand. Just because of that lower profile in there. The Wolves Skoll tends to hug into your palm a lot nicer if you choose the palm. I also have no issues fingertipping this because I have just larger hands, so I really don't have any issues there. It's a lot nicer. Again, ergonomic. It's kind of made for that.
Yeah.
So can't really. It's tough to compare them, but the Razer Viper is also very, very comfortable in the hand.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so there's the shape there. Moving on to the weight, the Razer Viper is 69 grams.
And the Wolves Skoll weighs in at 66, so just
basically
2 grams lighter, essentially the same. You won't be able to feel it.
Razer's flexing on everyone because this does not have any holes. I feel
like
how much weight do you think the holes actually shave off?
It's
5 grams, something like that.
The sensor, of course, weighs the most in there.
You think so? Yeah.
But that's crazy. They've got these rubber side grips on there, which we actually forgot to mention. The rubber side grips are very nice to grip on there.
Yeah. Also, another thing I forgot to mention is that the Skoll is wide. So the Viper is a little bit narrower. So when I like to play like this. Obviously I fingertip, so I play like this. And since it's narrower, it just feels a little bit better than this being so wide. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, like Lucas said, the rubber grips are incredible on the Viper. I love that. So
yeah, feels nice.
Yeah, but weight very similar. You really don't notice the difference in weight. But moving on to the skates. The Razer Viper skates, you have one on top, one on the bottom, and one outlining the sensor here in the middle in the Razer Viper, and they're just regular. They're not horrible, but definitely not as good as the Wolves Skoll.
Yeah, skates are a lot better than your standard stock feet on the Wolves Skoll. Not quite as fast as the Model O, but definitely faster than your average from Logitech or Razer or anything like that.
Look at how much this thing moves, right? Compared to the Viper, right? It's I don't know if you guys can see, but the distance.
It's very different.
Yeah, it just wants to move on the Wolves Skoll. Look at that, versus the Viper. So it feels a lot faster. Of course, if you want to feel a little bit more in control than the Razer Viper, but if you want really fast, really smooth skates, go with the Skoll.
So as far as sensors go for these guys, we've got the 3360 sensor, which is pretty standard among gaming mice now in the Wolves Skoll, and the Razer proprietary 5G sensor in this. We have no idea what that means. We have no idea what it is. Feels good. Both of them feel relatively the same.
Yeah, exactly.
They're accurate. They're precise. There's nothing really to say there. We don't have anything to like compare the two, so
Yeah.
they both feel really nice in game. I'm not
Yes.
gonna notice any like latency or anything like that with either of these mice, so no issues there.
Moving on to the buttons. The buttons on the Razer I really don't like them, is what I'm saying. Because, okay, so let's start off with the side buttons. Side buttons, they're basically recessed into the actual chassis of the mouse, and it doesn't protrude out at all. So it's hard to press because of that. Also, it's hard to press because the actuation force is very high. Of course, you can get used to this, once you start playing with the mouse, and if you play with it for a few hours, you'll get used to it. But this is one of the hardest side buttons I've ever had to press,
Yeah.
Especially if you're your thumb, that's a little bit easier, and for Lucas, pressing these buttons with your ring fingers like near impossible, right?
I could not do it.
Yeah.
I could not.
Exactly.
Like, which is so unfortunate for me because I love this mouse, but I also really love my side buttons.
Yeah.
And I can't press them on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it. It's like a huge design flaw in this guy, which I can't get over.
Yeah, and also the mouse 1 and 2, it feels great, but there's just something about the clicks that makes it feel mushy, right? I think it's the spring. It doesn't have like a nice bounce back, So like when you press it, it feels a little bit slow when it comes back compared to like all my other mice for some reason. So it just feels a little bit mushy there. The clicks sound a little bit more like hollow as well compared to like, that's a little bit more high pitched, which is that, right? So anyways, there's that. Scroll wheel is great though. Scroll wheel, you have nice precise steps, tactile, easy to press as well. So yeah, the Razer Viper, the buttons aren't very nice.
On the Skoll, there's not a whole lot of steps on here, but very defined steps on there, so you're not going to run into any issues with over scrolling or under scrolling on this guy. Again, clicks feel nice on the scroll wheel as well. No problems to speak of there.
Yeah, and
moving on.
And the mouse 1 and 2 feel a lot better in my opinion, and the side buttons too. So there's that.
Absolutely. And then moving on to the cords. So very similar actually. Both of them feel very similar. They're both paracorded mice. However,
yes, the weave is a little bit tighter on the Razer Viper.
Which is actually its downfall.
Exactly, so it doesn't bend as easily. So like, if you look at the Wolves Skoll, it's just so much easier, right? Look at that. So it's like the same distance, and like if I see, it kind of moves, but the Wolves Skoll doesn't.
Which is crazy because actually the glides are even smoother on the Wolves Skoll,
yeah.
So it should be moving around more in theory.
Exactly.
But the cord actually, it's weird. It's almost nitpicking, but you can feel it. You can definitely feel it without a bungee.
Yeah.
Whereas on the G-Wolves, like the Model O,
Nope.
You cannot feel it at all.
Yes.
You won't feel it.
But this is still way better than like the regular rubber.
Yes,
cords,
much better than like stock cords.
Yeah, exactly. So the Wolves Skoll is a little bit better as far as the cord goes.
So now moving on to the build quality of the mice.
I don't know, man. I don't like either too much. They both feel a little cheap to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I actually think the Razer Viper feels a little bit better in build quality because it's got these rubber sides on there.
Yeah, I just don't like this.
It feels solid.
This plastic texture. It
they
just feels
both got
cheap.
this like sandpapery like texture that feels a little bit cheap.
Exactly.
But regardless of that, they're not that like there's no actual like discrepancies as far as like you can't push it in, you're not gonna break it. There's nothing wobbling around inside there, so no issues as far as that goes. Just feels a little cheap in the hand for both of these guys.
I would say the Skoll feels a little bit grippier though because of that sandpapery, texture. Even though the Razer Viper is still grippy, So just keep that in mind.
Just minor things.
Yeah.
As far as durability goes, the only one of these that we noticed an issue with
Viper
was the Razer Viper right away.
My right click did not. It's not that it didn't work, but it felt really. There was no click to it. It felt super mushy. I don't know what happened with the button. I got it exchanged with Amazon, which is dope. I love Amazon for that, but.
And that wasn't even like a defect. That wasn't out of the box, right? It started happening after some gameplay.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks after the review. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a minor thing. It might not be all Razer mice, but it's just the one we got happened to. I mean, after a bit, we ran into some durability issues, so it's definitely worth noting there. Nothing to speak of yet on the Skoll, but we'll keep you guys posted if anything happens.
Alright, moving on to the software and the RGB. You can't beat the Skoll. It's my favorite RGB on the mouse right now.
It's cool. That underglow effect is so nice on there.
I do like the Viper as far as like there's no outline of the logo. Logitech, you can see that where they cut it out and stuff. But this, when it's not off or when you have the light off, it's all black.
That's cool. They both did something very unique with the RGB. Skoll with the underglow effect, Razer with the logo being completely invisible on there when it's not turned on, which is really cool. So honestly,
but your hand covers it.
I like the Skoll better with that underglow effect. There's more RGB on the Skoll, which clearly makes it the better mouse, as we all know.
Of course.
RGB really makes or breaks a mouse.
Yeah, and then the software, of course, they're both good. You can change your macros, your binds, your polling rate, DPI, and all that. So it's pretty much the same to us. We don't really care. But they both have DPI switches, of course. Yeah, on the bottom of the Razer Viper, you can tell by what color it is. The Wolves Skoll, there's nothing like that, so you don't know what DPI you're at, so you kind of have to guess. Obviously, if you do download the software, it's not going to be an issue, but that's just a little thing there. And also, if you guys want to change the lighting effects, like strobe lights or whatever color you want, you can click the right button on the bottom here. So.
Or control it through the software. But software on both of these are optional.
Yeah.
Which is nice feature. They're plug and play. You don't need any software to get using them. But if you want to get into more advanced things like binds or macros, you can do that using the software.
But yeah, wrapping things up, $75 and $70, basically the same price. What is the better mouse? I would say I like the Wolves Skoll because of the buttons, and just basically because of the buttons.
Yeah, I would honestly pick the Wolves Skoll again. Honestly, it sucks so bad. This could have been such a good mouse. It's so tragic that the buttons sucked on there.
No, we don't like it. We don't like the buttons at all.
Yeah.
The shape is incredible. The weight is awesome. The paracord is good, and then the skates are good, and I love the rubber side grips and stuff. But it's just like the buttons that I don't like, just the feel of it. Yeah, exactly. So it's
so tragic. I want to like it. I just can't. The Wolves Skoll, in my opinion, is going to take the cake on this one. But let us know what you guys think about that in the comments. Let us know what you guys think about the two. And then that'll wrap it up for this guy. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.